So this I found at Savers. It's like a thrift shop, Salvation Army style. I think I paid $1.99. It's mystery, I don't know, it's wool, but it is a absolute beautifully spun single. You know, it looks like it's been slightly fulled. It was tied up in a hank. So I've been just hanging on to it. I didn't really know what to do. I was going to use it as a, like a carry-along, but I almost didn't want to waste it for that. So the way I laid things out, I think this will work though, just to put a few yards at the beginning and a few yards at the end. And I'll show you how to do that. I figured that out. I thought it was a nifty little idea. But so this I'm just going to hang on the chair, and I think the twist is going to be good in that it goes in the right direction. Hear that? Yeah. That looks good. So I'm going to go with that. So I'll just do a few yards to add some twist to this single. And that will be your lead, I guess. No, the leader's on there. This is, I don't know, what do you call it, Jan? Help me out here. I don't know. The beginning and the end. How's that? Huh? All right. So we got a little bit on there. In the end, that's going to ply back on itself for a little bit. So I'm going to break it off. And that'll be the end of that until I get to the very end. Now, what I find important is to wind this on. It's kind of hard with this big, huge flyer, little tiny yarn. But I don't want to lose my twist no matter what. You got to hold on to that. So, ta-da! There's your twist holder. So the fiber I chose to connect the blocks of dungaree strips is linen, and there is a tiny bit of merino in there, so I'm just mixing it up a little bit by hand when I get to it, section at a time. I chose the flax because when it's woven it makes linen. And if you remember my shirt that I cut up into strips, here it is. I got about 63 yards I think I measured. So I'm going to use this as the auto wrap. We'll see how it goes. I hope it's not too overwhelming because it's, I mean, obviously it's not a string. I was going to use just this in the beginning, but I really wanted the white in there. So I went along the back of my couch and I laid everything out with no particular care as to how much I have of anything. I just use what I have and lay it out, and if until I run out of one thing or another, and that's that. And then the shells, you know, I started with my bead kit and making these add-ins, and after I got about 6 of them done, I thought, oh, geez, they all look like I got them out of my bead kit, you know, that one box of beaded shells. So I didn't like that. So I went into my own shell collection. I thought, what the heck, you know? I picked these up down in Clearwater and Sanibel, and some were from my mom's collection in Hawaii, and some from this and that, and from all over the place. So I thought, well, make it more personal. And that's why I got this wheel in the first place, is so I could put these gigundous add-ins in. Now, I'm hoping this will hold. I'm trying to split that and mix it and get it all to make friends. Oh, I forgot water. I'll have to spit. Excuse me. So sorry. Apparently when you spin flax, you're supposed to keep it somewhat wet. And I'm not going, this is a shorter staple flax, it seems like. Whoops. Seems like some of the flax I've seen elsewhere, other than where I bought it, it's really long. I would like to get some in the natural state, you know, because it grows like a grass. And wouldn't it be nice to have these big, long pieces? I don't know, it was some YouTube video, and they were doing the flax. It was awesome. So pretty. Now this, get it to catch. There you go. Now, so the add-in, I guess you just flop her in there. Flop her in there. I just made that up. Add it back in. I'm going to have it go with the flax. Let that hang down. Let it wrap, wrap, wrap. Change hands, let it wrap, wrap, wrap. Keep letting the twist out of the back. This is very fiddly spinning, so I'm gonna totally edit this so you don't have to suffer through the whole thing, but I'm doing my best to show you. I feel like I need to spit on my hands again. Oh my God. You can feel the stuff when it's dry. Yeah. And it's still not taking up. All of a sudden it will like zoom. There. Now my shells are going to clickety clack. And I don't want this really, really thin. I want this kind of thick. So it's a heavyweight yarn. Keep an eye on that business. Ooh. I'm going to swap hands again. You're all like, yeah, right, I am not doing this, huh? All right. I think it would be wise to hand feed every single one of these through here. I mean, why wouldn't you? You've gone through all this trouble. Who cares if it takes another 37 years, right? It's like riding a horse. Clippity-clop, clippity-clop. There. This is starting to fall apart down here. So anyway, I'd say like that's the beginning. Get lots of extra twist in this. You want this on here tight. Whenever your auto wrap gets loose, when you're spinning it, it's like twice as loose when you go to ply it. And then you end up with these big loops of string. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world. Sorry. Okay, so I'm at the end of the flax. So here's the dungaree strip. It has a little hole. Can you see that little hole? I know I first saw this type of technique with Ashley Martineau. I hope I say her last name correctly. I apologize if I don't. She did not put the little cut in the fabric, because she is probably a better spinner than me. So she could just add it on and it looked real pretty and it stayed real tight. I didn't trust myself. I was like, I know that's going to be a problem. So, you know, when you get to this point here and you've got all this business going on, it is up to you. When I was doing the suede yarn, I added, on some of them I added a little extra wool and just kind of secured the whole thing, so it did look like a little fiber bead kind of thing. There was definitely a bump left behind. And then some of them I kind of figured out as I went along how you could kind of smooth them down, and they were more of a like a soft transition. They weren't so bumpy. I'm not sure that the flax is gonna behave like the wool. You know, the wool is like grabby, 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 grabby. You can do anything and it will just stick. So how's that? A little extra twist got built up in there. And now when you're fabric to fabric, get that knot out of the way. Stuff everywhere. Again. Now, and also I want to remember too that I only have 63 yards. It's going to get eaten up in a minute. You know what I mean? So I don't want to get to the end of my auto wrap and then have oodles and oodles of other stuff left over. So I'm going to try, when I get to the fabric to fabric, I'm going to try to utilize more of the dungaree there. Let the dungaree kind of be the auto wrap over the white, because I don't want the white to overtake the whole thing, so it's a good opportunity to save some and cover it up. So you don't want all at the same time. Okay, so now I'm ready for more flax. I'm going to grab a little something from my lap so I don't keep dropping it on the floor. Hang on. So I went ahead, mixed the next batch up, got myself a little dish of water. It really gets a lot more grabby when it's wet, that's for sure. It almost like glues itself together. It's a funny little thing. It's very different from wool. I want to try everything, you know? Why not? So, we're up on the next peg. Back to this. Got my hole. Stick it in. Now, this little handful of stuff did not have an add-in. So what I did is I made as many as I felt like drilling. I took them out in the studio and I drilled them with the Dremel. Did all of that. And then I laid them out on the back of the couch. And I can show you that too. Then what I'll do is bring them over here one at a, not one at a time, like a few at a time. I wish this would take up more. Now, what a difference when your hands are wet. Let me tell you, if you're doing flax, it has, I guess like the silk cocoons, it has a little bit of something in there that, it's some of its natural stuff that kind of reactivates when it's wet. And I can feel it, that's for sure. Just by getting it wet. There we go. There we go. That's the problem, when your machine's not working. Now I kind of auto wrap it a little bit. There. So now I am probably officially warmed up. You know how it is. Let's swap the other way. Swap hands. I could probably just swap angles, but and it's kind of freestyling from here. Whatever floats your boat. As long as you got some good twist. Don't forget the twist. It's all about the twist. Okay, we're at the end. Perfect time. There's a little flag. Hello. Add another one. It's the same business. Find the hole. Stick it in. Wrap it around. It's gonna hold. It's gonna hold so well because you have this strip of linen. Now, this was kind of a nice shirt, but it just never really fit me quite right. And then I discovered a hole in the back, and I thought, enough is enough. Time to cut that sucker up. Get rid of it. Oh, come on, you. There we go. Oh, I talk bad, and now it's gonna... Sorry. There, I apologized. Okay. All better. There. There's a nice little connection. And I bet if I get this a little wet, there's going to be the trick. Okay, I'm getting a little too much twist. I can feel it. I can feel it right there, and it's going to act up on me. The whole thing is starting to get out of control. So I'm going to give it a little... I'm going to back it up. Look how pretty that looks. Little flag, little stuff there. So again, I'm going to kind of race this down. Let the next little flag hang out. Come on. What the heck. And again, now, almost because the blue is the over wrap, it's got to be tight. And then we're going to switch hands. Suck it up there. Let that hang out like that. Let it over wrap that way. Get out some of that twist. And there we go. Let some of it show. I'm going to take this up again. I feel like I'm just working way back here and I want to be up here. I'm going to move this one more time. Bob it up. It really fills up the bobbin fast. Okay. And race it through. It's hard to race it through if your uptake isn't there. See, look, I'm moving my hands back to keep up. Dear goodness gracious. Okay. Hey, no one said it was going to be easy, okay? So there you go. So we're back to business. Pull some of that. Oh, good, another add-in. Never thought I'd see one again. But of course now I have to stop. So maybe it's a good idea. I think I was just so sick and tired of prepping this. I finally had some time to spin. I want to spin and I forgot. I have to go back and give these a little pull. But you see how handy that clip is? It really helps. I don't know how I ever got along without one. I was really going nuts. Could you imagine trying to hold that with your third hand that you don't have? You know, it's the little things that make life so much easier. There, look how pretty that is. That wool just blends right in there perfectly. If I had any more, I wish I did, I would have saved out some just at the attachment points. I would have wrapped every single one at all these connections. So, water. So it looks like this add-on has kind of a longer string than the other one, so I'll put it right in as soon as I get this business taken care of, right? This does not draft at all like wool. It is the weirdest thing in the world. And then once your fingers are wet, it sticks to your fingers because it's gluing itself back together. So through the hole, I add it back down, give it a pull, and then try to hold that dungaree and give it a little bit of an auto wrap to kind of lock everything in. Just once or twice and then that's it. Okay, perfect. See, that's on there really tight. That's not going to go anywhere. So again, we're going to let that little guy hang out. Zip around that. And then it's going to be time to do our add-in. Come on. There you go. Talk nice to your wheel. Boy, I saw a nice little wheel for sale. $200. The thing was absolutely gorgeous. I don't know a lot about wheels, but this I know was, I think, a castle style wheel because it was one of those upright ones, which I just find them just so adorable. It's just like, it must be like spinning on a child's toy almost, just to, you know, because I really learned how to spin on this Mach 3, which is a beast of a wheel, I guess, you know, I've come to find out. But it's what I wanted. I want to be able to put these big monster things like that through the orifice. Oh, that one is pretty. Look at that. So, this little wheel, I don't have the nerve to buy another wheel. I just got that little Ashford traditional one. Oh my God, it's so cute. So before I let that first one, I'm kind of fighting it here because I want to get both of these on before I let it feed in so I can pay attention to how it feeds in. Give myself some room. Kind of really pull back on that. I'm locking this other one in. I'm going to switch hands. I'm building up a ton of twist. So now you want to get these in safe. Put them in by hand. You get big stuff like that, forget about it, you know, just get it in there. Okay. I didn't spin back far enough, hang on. I'm trying not to make this too thin because I want a super chunky yarn. Talk about doing 10 things at once. My hands need to be wet. This thing needs to do that. That thing needs to do. I feel like, what was her name? Loretta Lynn. One needs a cooking and one needs a spanking and one's on the way. Remember that old song? I won't sing anymore. So, yeah. So there you go. Just keep going, just keep going. Get them all in. I mean, they're fine, they're just banging around in there. Okay, we're at the end. This is a good spot. The flag. I don't know, flags. I think I heard Myra call them a flag one time, and forever in my mind they will now be flags. I don't know if flags are technically something that you add in later or what, but that's what they remind me of. So there, I'm going to cover it, pull down. The nice part about this is you can undo it from the back side, and then roll it on by hand if you want, and I want very much to do that. I'm going to put some of this here, water glue. Wow, you can feel it just like it just kisses right up there. Get it. Spin it between my fingers. That's awesome. Now, back to this. I really want to race it right through so I can reserve my white. Get this there. It gets stuck on the knot. There we go. I don't know if I can put enough tension on this. You know what will happen is all of a sudden it will take off on me. So anyway, so this goes on forever, one at a time. I'm going to swap hands. Just give it a little something something there to think about. Swap hands again. Feed it on. There we go. We're back to here. Okay. And then I started taking my sections of fiber one at a time, hand mixing them, and then taking the time to really pre-draft them. It sure made it a lot easier trying to spin this than do it as a handful. Step by step, inch by inch. See my finger? There we go. Well, it's not a yarn that you're going to blaze through, that's for sure. So as I go along here, instead of pulling the flax apart and mixing it with the wool, I started doing this. And I just like it. It's much nicer to deal with. I'll show you. I just want to be careful because the flax, you know, will come apart. But if I just draft it out and then draft the wool with it, it just seemed to be an easier prep for me. And it's already in a line. It looks really nice. So why not just go with it instead of pulling it and pulling it and pulling it and pulling it. Like I said, someday I'm going to get the long stuff. So I figured I'd just spin a few rows. Oh, and I got a water bottle. I thought that made it much easier. So get this down to the end. Push that in the hole. Pull it back. See? That'll lock in. And I like spraying that much better than wetting my hands. Just seemed to go much nicer. Oops. My wheel just... Oh, we have an add-in here. Let's do that. Just throw it on in. I'll put it in under, no, over. And it will trap it on that first spin, like so. Flip it over with your finger if you have to. Boy, this stuff has a special smell to it too. Now, let's get that over. I want to save the ties. Yeah. Oops. I made it through. Whoopee. There we go. Push that in. There. You know, you can pick one or the other. It doesn't matter. Like, I'm going to let some of that hang out. I like it. And I think every little connection has its own little look to it. Everybody's special. Yep. Look at that. I'm going to run that right down. Let it go in. Oh, it's stuck. I'm going to be careful of my shells. And just get to that flag, put a couple extra twists. Everybody's good up there. I think that's oyster shell, that last one. Yeah, so if you drill out your shells, I used a diamond bit on the Dremel. See my finger? it just feels good to kind of guide everything with my finger here. I'm going to change. There we go. Change the hook. Okay. Now this one, I didn't pre-draft it. There we go. See how much friendlier that is to work with? I mean, it doesn't really matter if it's all blended too much because they'll run alongside each other, right? And I'll lay that right next to it. Give it a spray. So again, it's just through the hole. I'll overlap those, maybe let that stick out. Give a little draft and off you go. Oh, that got ahead of me. That's okay. Just let the white stick out every once in a while. Get to the end, fan it out. How's that? Let's try some crazy spinning just to see what you get. It's kind of fun. I'll do one more. This is a big handful. And when I divided this up, I didn't really, I'll take the whole piece and fold it in half of this roving or whatever I'm using for the fiber in between, or the bat, whatever. Divide it in half and then look at how many strips you have laid out. Figure I got, 30 strips, so I need about, 30 pieces of fiber. And then just kind of estimate, take that and start grabbing off handfuls of it. And then as you go along, if one pile looks a little bigger, just steal a little bit from that and move it around until you feel happy that it's relatively balanced, because it doesn't matter. You're going to apply it all back on itself anyway. So, there. We're drafted. See all that, and I never let go of that tension. That's important. There. There we go. Well, this one has a an add-in. Let's do that now. It's a little short one. That's okay. Over the top. That will grab it. Ooh, I love that. It's kind of cool. Try to make it more. Oops. And I got all furry. It's all furry. And then I think I need more water. So I don't understand why, but on the video I saw, the woman said that she would weave the flax wet as well. I don't know why, if you've already spun it kind of wet, why would you weave it wet as well? Maybe it reactivates this stuff and makes the fabric nicer. I don't know. Something to look up later. Okay, yep, I knew that was going to get stuck. There we go. Alright, try to, whoops, blaze through this part. So I'm going to finish this and then I'll take a picture of the bobbin. It looks really pretty. It does look like a walk on the beach. Come on, you. There we go. It's stuck somewhere. On the shell. There we go. Shocker. There we go. I could tell because that white was getting all twisted up and now this. There we go. You know, I know with these art yarns you're supposed to be working right up against the orifice all the time, but I feel like sometimes you kind of got to get to the end of the pole, and if something's hung up there, it's easier for me just to finish the job. Finish the job. Do your job, Bill Belichick. Let's see. That's pretty. Okay. Look, I like that one, how the stuff fuzzes out. That looks nice. All right. Yeah. It pays to cover up the white almost as much as you can because it will dominate for sure. Okay, I'm going to stop for a minute and take a picture of the bobbin. Okay. So I spun this to the very end, and then I ran out of the white, at which point that was the end of the yardage I was going to get because I was out of one thing or another, and that was it. This is what I had left over, so it was a pretty good estimate. I probably could have got a few more sections of the flax in this, but that's okay. Now I have this for sampling and I will use it for that. Now these other two shells are going to go back on here. the reason they're not on there now is because I was a little afraid about the size of them clickety-clacking around. So what I did is I made the add-in with just a bead and a loose knot, so later on I'll go find that and tie these in after the fact, which is fine because they are kind of big. They probably would have been okay. So when I got to the very end of the white and there was no more left, then I went and added some more of that singles onto the other end. And then I made that big inside outside ball around the toilet, not the toilet paper, I'm sorry, the paper towel roll. I thought that would be a good idea just because it gave that nice big hole in the middle, so when I pulled it off, it wouldn't collapse in on itself, and it gave all these components lots of room to get out without getting too tangled upon itself. So that worked out quite well. And if take a good look at the picture too, what I did do is I just used a piece of masking tape on the tip of the roll. And that's how I started it, because I don't want to let go of the twist. So a little bit of tape, rolled it all off, got to the end, never let it go, and then came back to the wheel and plied the inside-outside ball. So that's all plied. It's almost done, and I thought maybe you'd like to see a little bit of the plying. Now, another thing about making this yarn, you can almost forget about it just feeding back on to the wheel itself. It's just not going to do it. You really need to just commit to the fact that it's not going to happen. And hang on one second. My dog came to visit me. He wagged his tail and he knocked the drive band off. Hang on. All fixed. So this plying also is not going to be always real close to the orifice because it just doesn't feed on. So I start pretty close and just kind of lean back and get a couple of feet plied together. It's getting to the end, so it's really just a foot at a time, but you're only doing a few yards of it anyway. And again, you can check also for your balance a little at a time. Boy, these things are just everywhere. This is like a party on a bobbin. Unbelievable. So I'll get to the end of this. And now, what I also wanted to show you was how I figured out how to get another ending on this end, because who knows what end you're going to start with. I mean, I could probably just stop right there and call it a day, but you know, I want another end on it. So that's that. So it's all plied. It's on the bottom. So what I'm going to do is just let this sit tight there for a minute. So I took some of the singles and just started adding some twist to this. I thought a drop spindle would be a nice way to do it. I'm not super well versed in the art of drop spindling, but I can't see. Yeah, I'm going the wrong way. Okay. Yeah, look how nice that spins. I just got this at the New Hampshire Sheep and Wool. I'm hoping to get some more time on it. So I'll just go along and do a few yards. I think I measured about 6. And then I'll take this off, do end to end, tie it on that end somehow, and then, how do you say it? A dean ply? Like I read the word, but I don't know how to get it out of my mouth because it's so funny when you don't have someone right next to you. You're not talking, you're reading. I can read it, but you know, sometimes they have these funny little pronunciations. You know what I mean? You wrap it around your hand. So I'll finish this up. Okay, there we go. So I have a little bit more at the end. Sorry, my stomach's growling. There, that feels good. I can feel it up here when it gets the extra twist. So I'll lay that in my lap, hold that end, pinch it with your thumb. I like to wrap it around twice. And then over the finger and around, on the back, over the finger, cross, cross in the front, and go around the back, cross in the front, go around the back. One was a little tight. Try to keep it loose enough so it will spill out nice. And it's not so tight that all those little curly cues are going to get hung up on each other. There. At the end. So, take your thumb, drop your finger, and we're in business. So, now if I had only done like 3 yards for an ending, I would probably thread the whole thing through and have it just loop in on itself. But there's a little more than that here. And I'm not going to object to just tying it on due to the fact that we have ties all over this thing. It barely is turning because all those, whoops, I see what happened. I'm blaming the shells, it's not, it's me. There we go. That's a handy thing, I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna lie. I do like that. Oh look, it spins easier when it works. Imagine that. Okay. So it's still on the largest whorl. So it's going to take a few extra spins to get the proper twist. It's fine. Whoops. There's that one shell that just doesn't want to cooperate. I should have trapped him. That's what I was kind of trying to do as I went along. Some of them were really flopping all over, so I tried to make sure where I placed the feet on which bobbin hook on the flyer hook to make it kind of wrap around. And so I was trying to finish this up last night. My husband's trying to watch the news. It was so funny. He's like, "What are you doing over there?" And I'm just smiling away. I'm spinning all the shells from our vacation. You know, he doesn't care. He doesn't care that I do this, don't get me wrong, but I mean, that's why I don't know how to pronounce all these words, because, you know, he doesn't want to talk to me about it. I mean, he'll listen to me rattle on about it as long as I want. When I'm done, he's back in the garage, and that's okay with me. How nice that's coming out. Just check for your balance. Oops. Might have a little more. I'm not gonna. Yeah. It's not like this is a nice yarn I'm gonna use for socks or something. This is just for fun. And you could see at the beginning there I had one strand that didn't quite have enough twist. Who cares? I mean, this is one of those shabby chic kind of things. So some of the imperfections, if you want to call them that, is what makes it so beautiful. Okay, almost done. It's that same guy. Get in there, you. A little shell. Okay. Now I'm almost done here. I can't wait to try to spin some of that leftover flax. I want to try it on that little Ashford traditional wheel. I bet you it'll be fun. That wheel is so much fun to spin on. It's such a sweet little lightweight thing. I just absolutely love it. I wasn't getting into this to make thin yarns, but I think it's a lot of fun. And what I'm using it for a lot is to make my auto wraps. So I really never thought about it. I mean, I could do it on this wheel too, but you know, it's always fun to have more wheels, right? Well, I wouldn't know. I'm going to stop at 2. Ask me in a year if I buy another one. You can call me on it. So here's the bobbin. Isn't it beautiful? All the shells. I'll take some glamour shots of it on the Nitty Naughty. So there you go, girls. Go team!